CRISPR essentially acts like molecular scissors and cuts that DNA at exact locations so broken or harmful genes can be removed. And this goes back to that movie that you're talking about.
Yeah, sounds wonderful on the surface.
Right. And then they insert sequences of new genetic instructions into a genome. And that means adding traits or that were never there before. Right. I mean, they could even, if you want to get into it, you can even mix DNA. So you could put in well, they've done it with certain things. Like they added like spider DNA to like a goat for, I can't remember why. There's all kinds of things that they've done now.
Just to try it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cool. and then you end up with like chimeric things, right?
As it was in the days of Noah, brother.
Yes. And this is one of those things that I kind of, so that's essentially what's happening now is the current real world uses. The big ones that are happening that are more positive are like treating blood diseases.
Yeah.
And CRISPR's been really good at treating sickle cell disease, which is, huge, hugely beneficial to the human race, right? So I like that type of stuff, right? And hereditary condition stuff, they've used it to study and potentially fix things like cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy and Huntington's disease, even blindness, or immune disorders, right? So there's some cool stuff going on, experimental gene therapies, all these things. But so then you get into like plants and animals. And we know as we hear about genetically modified organisms, right? So we know that like crops have been modified for disease resistance, right? And drought tolerance and faster growing livestock and or crops and lab animals with, unfortunately, there's spots where they've put human genes in lab animals and it's like, what are you doing? But where it becomes really ethically dangerous is that that dark DNA framework becomes critical, right? And it opens the door to engineering the human species and germline editing, things like that. It's just not designer traits, right? With like height and mass, muscle mass, intelligence, eye color, things like that. That leads to just awful things. And then on top of that, you weaponizing biology, right? Targeting viruses, genetically selective pathogens. This is all things that have been, maybe were or weren't happening in labs in China, where we had the whole thing come from. And I don't want to say the words because,
Live execution, COVID, which one were you avoiding?
Yeah, all of them. But why this matters spiritually to me, and this is, it means that we have the ability to technologically, the power to rewrite
play God,
the biological image of humanity. And this brings us to a serious crossroads. It's like, are humans created beings who receive life, or are humans programmable machines to be optimized? And I think we know the answer to that, right? Yeah. That is just, that is not just science though. That is theology and identity and destiny. Dark DNA is not, it's not about monsters, right?
Yeah.
But it is about whether the future human is healed and whole or edited and owned.
Yeah.
So
not even creation anymore.
Not even creation anymore because somebody has a patent on it. So that these are long-term social and ethical outcomes that really need to be thought out before people go down this road.